head, foreseer of Walrus Man, snaggler of the tooth. How's it going, Rob?
I'm Apple Alt deleting really quick here, just trying to. But they lost a few keys, so I can't quite get there.
Yeah,
So
you can do it though. You can do
that's what
it.
I'm trying to do. Yeah, sticky keys.
How's it going, Max?
Pretty good. How are you guys?
Max, she's a Lego maniac. How are you? Are you doing pretty good? You just rushing here right now? Just running like the Flash?
No. It's when you texted me, I just woke up.
Nice.
I went out with my friend. Well, actually, I woke up early and then I took another nap.
Party girl.
Yeah, I hadn't seen my friend in like.
Was that the friend you were posting with the social stuff with on the old internet.com? Last night, where you're like, I don't know, I saw like social media stuff, and you're like,
yesterday.
I love you, girlfriend. And I was like, oh, those girls, they're sure having a good time out there drinking their BLs.
I don't think I posted that yesterday.
Okay, I saw.
I know.
It yesterday.
It was just where I was. That's all.
Oh, but you know what? I can see the.
Oh no! It was that was my friend's birthday. From Turkey. The other one. I know what you're talking about.
So you were talking turkey. Turkey talk.
That was
turkey
talk. Two different people. Yeah.
Yeah. So, anyways, today we're live on the Facebook.com.
Okay.
On the YouTube.org and Twitter.gov. So you could watch us on all of those places today. And but I would like to encourage everyone to actually subscribe on YouTube. That's primarily where we stream to. And if you want to support the channel, you can become a channel member. You know, like I keep joking, it's less than a gallon of gas a month. And yeah, so it would be appreciated. And you could be a Patreon supporter too, and you can get the show with audio only versions. I should need to upload a bunch. I got sidetracked last week because of the kids being home with spring break. So over here we're having a spring break too. Yeah. We're like, yeah, we're getting crazy over here. We're having like chicken McNuggets and Coca-Colas. It's crazy.
Wow.
Yeah. But yeah, today we're going to talk about Bryce Dallas Howard and the Ahsoka series. She did an interview that's like pretty fascinating overall. And then we're going to talk about Indiana Jones 5 and an interesting quote from Jyn Erso's dad, her real father. Really? He knows everything about Indiana Jones 5. And then yeah. And then if you want to talk about the Star Wars Vision stuff, just the big scoop going around, just listen to the show 2 days ago and then just watch what was fished from there and you'll fucking get it, you know, at the end of the day. Fuck you, man. Anyways, yeah, so I made this right here because it made me laugh. Ahsoka will please the Clone Wars fans. Yeah, she will. So awesome. Here we go. All right, so yeah, so this is from Romper. Do you guys remember Romper Room? Are you guys old enough to remember the Romper Room?
I heard of it.
I thought they would just magically know my birthday. You know, at the end they would do this birthday thing where they put your name on there, and I waited for my name, and I'm like, I guess I don't count. I must have been bad this year. Like I tried to be really good the next year. No, I didn't know you had to fucking send something in. Like I didn't.
you thought they magically knew.
I thought they were always look. I still believe Santa was real, but you know, apparently he's just on YouTube hawking licks and dingles or whatever that is. Lick and dingle, Star Wars Santa.
Yeah.
So yeah. So for what it's worth, this interview is from Romper, not Romper Room, and it sounds like it's like the author or the interviewer, Bryce Dallas Howard, and then a child or a son, a kid or something of some. I don't think it says how old the kid is, but they take it there. They take it where it needs to go. So hats off to them. Okay, so EA, I guess Electronic Arts says, okay, I know we don't have much time and we do not have much important Star Wars questions, and we do have some important Star Wars questions. I think our first question was, how much did you know about Star Wars before you became involved? And how much research did you have to direct The Mandalorian? And then Does anybody else find it funny when they call her BDH? Because I'm kind of a fan of it. It reminds me of back when they used to call Neil Patrick Harris MPH, and I like that too. I thought that was
kind of reminds me of BDM, I think.
I was gonna say wrestling, but not much of a difference. It's her wrestling name.
Yeah,
right.
I mean,
BDH versus Ronda Rousey at SummerSlam 2022. Right.
All right.
So Bryce Dallas Howard says, growing up, our dad was and still is to this day very good friends with George Lucas, who created Star Wars. We're close in age to his kids. Last time I saw him, George was like, I have a picture of you all in the bathtub together. And I was like, awesome, George. And so every single year for Christmas, he would get Star Wars. We would get Star Wars figurines. Before I was even old enough to know who the characters were and what the stories were, I was getting these little figurines, and I was curious about it, and I was really into it. I learned about Star Wars first through the toys, and when I was old enough to watch the movies, of course, we watched the movies, and then I got even luckier because when I was 15 years old, I went to a summer camp, and one of my friends at that summer camp is a woman named Natalie Portman. And then editor's note.
Yeah, but Jason, so you know, we mostly just sent her all the leftover yak faces from the Powers of the Force collection in '83.
Right.
Look, one of the coins. Remember the coins?
Yeah. Can you spend those anywhere, George? Because they're just kind of catching, mold over here.
You can spend them in Russia.
Editor's note.
No, I was going to say that. Sorry.
Editor's note. I informed my children that Portman played Padme Amidala in the prequel films. They are suitably impressed. She goes on to say, and right after we were at this camp together, she went and filmed the prequels. Oh, so they were like little kids. Oh, like 15. So since I knew George and I was friends with Natalie and she was pretty young, she wanted to have a friend come out and visit. And so I got to go out to the set. And when I actually got on to direct Mandalorian, I didn't realize how well I knew Star Wars, but I knew it pretty well. Of course, there's always more to learn. And then there's this guy, Dave Filoni, and you know who Dave Filoni is. And then Henry, the son, he knows. And then BDH says, yeah, so Dave Filoni, he knows Star Wars better than anyone other than George. And he was taught by George when he was doing all the Clone Wars because they did that together.
James is throwing something right now.
Yeah, you think so?
You know it better than a bull.
Yeah,
I love James. But
where is James?
Been silent. I haven't got a letter from him recently. So
James, like James K.
Mm-hmm.
I think he's going to try to join on Monday.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, we text pretty much every day.
We all hang out at jazz clubs, so you're in the same circles.
I'll take roll. I'll fucking take roll if I have to. Just everybody at home knows. Even if you're not in the chat, I'll take roll. So anyways, yeah, so Dave Filoni, he knows Star Wars better than anyone. I love Clone Wars. It's my favorite, says Henry. Henry loves Clone Wars. It's his favorite. I like how it gets bolded because when Henry speaks, you fucking listen. You know what I mean?
Yep.
And so I'm going to say Henry knows his shit. Henry has this down. And Henry is speaking truth right now. He's spitting truth all over Sketchcraft's face right now. Like just like getting all over. And
COVID's the least of my worries with that. You know?
But he's got his mask on, so he's okay.
But it's in my eye, Max. It's in my eye.
Oh, no.
In a way, I actually find this interview with that, kind of interesting in the sense that it, if we were ever going to get Natalie Portman back, I wonder if they're still friends, and if Bryce Dallas Howard might be how we see Portman return to Star Wars in some way. What if she's in Ahsoka? I mean, because listen to this next part. BDH says, without giving anything away, you are going to love the Ahsoka show that's coming up. I cannot tell you anything, fucking snob, but I can say is that you being a fan of the Clone Wars will be greatly rewarded. So yeah, it's like what does that mean?
What? Sorry.
Nah, I mean, well, there's like a couple of things. I mean, it could just be as basic as Anakin Skywalker is in it, and so is Ahsoka Tano. They were both in that show. If you like that show, there's your connection. Go home, right? Pretty basic. But at the same time, if you are doing an Ahsoka show, it might really. I hate to be the flashback guy. Everybody's always selling fucking flashbacks. Flashback this, flashback that, and just making shit up. But I do think that the Ahsoka show is the opportunity to do what the Kenobi show doesn't do. And the Kenobi show does what's right for it, as it should. I mean, they could just have fucking Force ghosts flying around everywhere the whole time and stuff like that, and it would be fun. But there's like two ways of taking this. Is that it? I personally hope and think that there's a chance we will get the ghost of Anakin Skywalker appearing to Ahsoka at the end. And in a weird way, that will close off that show. I mean, it with that and that atonement between Ahsoka Tano and Anakin Skywalker, you close out a whole chapter of the animated stuff that comes before it. Like either way you cut it, you have the beginning, the first day they met, and maybe the end, so to speak, or at least the atonement for the drama. Because in the Clone Wars, obviously Ahsoka is his Padawan. They're supposed to be like, he's supposed to be like a parent to her, but they're more like brother and sister in a way, because he's fucking rock and roll. He's got fucking long hair. He's fucking banging models on the side. He's got all that shit going on, doing Jedi stuff. The hero with no fear, as they called him in the book. And so he's just rocking out. And but then Tarkin and Barra Sophie, they fucking frame Ahsoka. She's like, you know what? Fuck you guys. I'm going solo. I'm quitting the band. I'm going out on my own. I don't need you guys. I wrote all the songs anyway. All the songs in this show I wrote, is what she's saying to them. So she goes solo. Then we get her. Then she goes off
she
on her
DMCA'd their YouTubes. Just to prove a point.
Just to prove a point. And then we, we obviously Order 66 happens. She's not in the Jedi Order, so she doesn't die, and she doesn't really know what happened necessarily in the moment, in the heat of the moment as it's going on. Just that some shit was gone down. Empire rises. Then later on, we see her meet Darth Vader and Rebels, and they have that fight, and that she goes into that temple, and then we have the moment where the mask breaks, which also happens in another show you're going to see pretty soon. The mask breaks. She sees the eye. She's all, "That's you, motherfucker. I know that's you, motherfucker. I know that's you. I know you. I got you. I got you." She starts saying that. She's just going, "I got you. I got you. I got you." Okay, she doesn't really do that. But
she just says, "She broke my heart."
That's what I was saying. I was like yelling at the celebration. I was yelling at the screen. She got you. She got you. People were mad at me.
Wasn't that a Jason movie? He got you. I got you. And Jason gets them right at the end. There's Freddy or something. It's one of those things, right?
Yeah, Jason Voorhees. That's what I was in that moment.
Yeah.
Right.
But
good name.
So anyways, though, the fight, obviously she can't kill Darth Vader. So the fight's broken up, whatever. And then we just have this, Anakin, you were a fucking rock star, and now you've gone complete death metal. What are you doing here? What's going on, buddy? And then it just left as it is. So if you're gonna go, and I feel like the Ahsoka show, and I don't think this is a bad thing. I feel like it may be just kind of like what Book of Boba Fett was trying to do, but it might be doing this in a better way. It may just be straight fan service, in the sense that Ahsoka Tano is a fan favorite. She's going after Thrawn, a fan favorite. She's going trying to find Ezra Bridger, who has his fucking fans, and so you have like all of these like real big these fan things going on in the series. And Sabine, it's like, and I'm okay with that. If that's what the series is going to do, and at the end, if there's some kind of atonement between those two, that's great, right? I mean, it's only like it's only bad when fan service is only bad when it's a detour from what the story wants and what the story needs.
Right.
And if the story of Ahsoka is essentially we're trying to find Thrawn and Ezra Bridger, you're kind of already like you are just in that area. And that's fine, because if it means that as we move on in the future of Star Wars, we move on to these other shows that don't actually have any characters that like from the High Republic era, for instance, we may have 1 to 2 shows set in that era. You're not going to have any abilities for real fan service other than like, oh, I am Yoda going to class, I am, as he walks by or something. So it's
Look, we all know Clone Wars ain't my cup of tea. However, Rosario Dawson's awesome as that character. I've enjoyed every scene she's been in, so far in live action. And these Clone Wars kids, man, this really is where the sequel trilogy probably should have gone, right? Like, to bridge that gap between the cartoon, those fans that grew up, and then she ties into the prequels, she also has that outreach to Luke, like this kind of would have ended the saga in a way. Like,
they gave the sequel trilogy to Gen X, and Gen X didn't get it. Yeah,
and we're so apathetic. Like, that doesn't matter anyway. Blah 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 blah. Like,
my little nephew, man. Who cares?
I'll never forget. The last time I was at their place was in 2017, right? 2017, yeah, and up in Montana. So I go up there, and he's playing that Battlefront with the clone troopers, and he just looks at me, he goes, "Clone troopers are the best, man. They're the best Star Wars." I looked at him like, "Yeah, you're an idiot like your father." I didn't say it, but it's like, and he believed it, and I was so proud that he was letting me know where he stood, and I wasn't gonna take that away from him, like, I'll let Lucas do that, right. But like, I do think that is seeing this all kind of happen, though, one way or the other, like, is pretty fucking cool. And I think, like, for those people that grew up in that era that aren't, maybe they're feeling like Mando isn't speaking to them, kind of thing, like, this will bridge the two, in the same way, right? So it's awesome.
There's a big opportunity there just to elevate everything, and it's like I like connections, but I like it when the connections like make sense. You know what I mean? Like when they have like an organic kind of side to them, and the opportunity that they just created with deciding to tell the Ahsoka series. Her story starts in animation, and the biggest thing about her was in animation in Rebels. At the end, she's like Gandalf the Grey in that big white outfit with Sabine, and they're like, we're going on this post Return of the Jedi adventure. And that's pretty much where we leave her until we get to those little live action elements that we haven't had filled in yet. So so this one, I think if they go heavy fan service, I have no problem with it, though. I think it's appropriate. And then she goes on to say that when Natalie went to college, they hung out, and that's where they drank punch, and then they created the Star Wars character Edward Scissor Punch or something like that, and he was in Solo: A Star Wars Story.
Oh no, Jason, they were trying to make Edward Scissors Fetch, and I said, "You're not going to make Fetch happen." Nice try.
George totally ruined the greatest college experiment of our time. He would do that too. You could tell there was some times when there was some fun shit about to go down, and George just ruins it. You could just it's a wet towel. He really is. Love you, George, but
Boba Fetch, I cut that one out too. I was like, it's not happening.
Oh, Boba Fetch
never gets old.
Boba Fetch. Oh man. We did it. All right.
Oh Lord.
So, anyways, goes on to say, Henry's doing a great job here. I just want everyone to know that Henry is really holding down the fort here. You might not have the answer to this, but Beskar, it seems to be completely impervious. So, how old is Henry here? He said impervious, little nerd. And BDH says, "Yep." And then Henry goes on to say, Mando seems to be able to shoot multiple times in the chest without taking any damage. You know what's funny is I could shoot multiple times to the chest and not take any damage too. But that seems weird to me, because even though he wouldn't sustain any damage to his suit, wouldn't he get injured on the inside and need some time to recover? Yeah, about 20 minutes.
Jason, you make these jokes and you get praised. I make these jokes and I ruin the show. Like,
no, I ruined the show with you, buddy. Don't worry, we do it together.
I don't know. I think we got to keep tally. Someone needs to go through the comments and give us a tally over who ruins the show more. Like,
yeah. Well, because
no gaming the system, Max.
I'm like a what are they called? The Thaurian siren. I'm shooting that green titty milk out of my nipples that are spoilers into their mouths, and that's
infection.
Yeah.
It's a Star Trek thing.
It's pus. It's pus. but in it is Star Wars spoilers. I don't know why, but it's the way I'm built.
That's what makes Making Star Wars the logo.
Yeah, leaking Star Wars.
Lincoln jingle, Jason.
Mando seems okay. I already did that one. BDH says you're absolutely right. He's very strong, and in the Mandalorian culture, they're trained to be warriors, so they can do that. But then that's where Bacta spray comes in as well, because he doesn't have a Bacta tank like Boba. But Bacta spray is helpful. But you are absolutely right. Did you watch the Boba Fett season at all? And he says, oh, yeah. I like that she's saying Bacta spray because she's like, enough of those fucking Bacta tanks. I'm going to take the shit down to an aerosol can. I don't care about the environment. There's a billion worlds out here. Some of them could lose their ozone. Nobody gives a shit.
And they literally have 1 foot in the Adam West Batman at this point.
Yeah, the bat spray.
Just letting you know. You know.
Yeah. I love watching that with my 6-year-old daughter because she just takes it seriously. Like
it's fun to watch now. Like when where you're not like some edgelord 90s kid where you're like trying to ruin Batman, like all that stuff. Like you can just pick. It's fun. It's fun.
Yeah.
But the chicks look hot. How can I complain?
They are. They are. Numar is my favorite, honestly. In the Boba Fett season, Mando got BDH says in the Boba Fett season, Mando got sliced by the Darksaber, and then his leg was messed up. I was super excited to have that because I wanted to show he gets hurt and then heals from Bacta spray. Do you have any more questions? It's pretty nice. And then he says, yeah, I wanted to ask why there are no handrails in Star Wars. And BDH says, oh my gosh, I'm so glad you asked me that. I can't tell you anything specific, but I can tell you, keep watching.
Huh? What does that have to do with anything?
So there's no handrails in Star Wars, but something about handrails.
Classic Stan Lee dodge.
She really should
say in the Stan Lee voice all makes sense. Keep watching, true believers.
Yeah.
Make yours Marvel.
That was an odd response.
Well, no, I think there's going to be something about handrails.
Really?
Well, she says, I can't tell you anything specific, but all I can say is keep watching. So
they changed him to Han rails after he got killed on one, and now they're taking it serious.
Yeah.
So it's an old joke, but it checks out.
It checks out, yeah.
It checks out, yeah.
So yeah, how's the old chat doing today? I just wanted to say hi to everybody in the chat. Make sure we're not ignoring you. The Beskar Boner is the favorite channel out there. Favorite channel name at least.
So
yeah, it's pretty good.
Yeah, it was my old buddy Eric Denton.
Hey Eric.
And then yeah, so we're gonna talk about some Indy 5 here in a second, Santa. I know you can see all, but slow down, buddy. Slow down. Tomorrow, me and Santa are going to be on that charity stream tomorrow. So I'll tweet out the link. I think I'm not 100%. I think I'm going on at 4 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, 7 p.m. Eastern. I want to say. I think that's where I was being placed in it. So I think I'll be on for like an hour. But if you like D&D and stuff, go check it out and hang out there. And if you can contribute to the old charity, because it's for mental health awareness. It's a very valid and important thing to help out with. So but me and Santa will be hanging out together, and I'll make sure. I don't know. I'm not sure. It's somebody else's stream, so I don't know how awkward I can make Santa. But if it's free flowing, I'm gonna do it.
Don't bring up all the coal I gave Putin the last 40 years. It's ruining the planet. Thanks, Santa. Appreciate it.
Jason, do you own a romper? Yeah, I don't know, Moo. Robert Sinclair, Bandcamp would never.
Max really liked that joke. You'll never know. You never know what hits people, Jason.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Gets them right in the gut.
Yeah,
right in the guts.
Yeah.
That's
like I laughed at my own joke the other day, and I was the only one laughing.
Yeah,
I don't even know what it was. It made me so happy. That was a legit happy laugh for me.
Yeah. Don't feel bad. I've had to laugh at myself, and nobody else got the joke.
Meanwhile, if we talk about eating people, like she just flips out. Like
I'm gonna throw up.
See how quickly I took it away, Jason.
Yeah.
See how quickly I did that.
I have to say, Max will like, you know, will like reference like moving violations or something, and I'm just like, what the fuck is she on about? But I always respect it because it's always a deep cut from a quality source. I will give you that.
I reference
Max.
moving violations.
Yesterday,
so has Max has as well.
Okay. Right.
So yesterday,
Hey, we can all like moving violations, okay, guys? Let's not fight. We all love it here. We're all big fans.
I don't wrestle. No, I told my friend. I showed my friend a clip of. I had said something about civil rights. This is the 90s. Nobody got it. It's from Bridesmaids.
Mm-hmm.
And so when I sent that to her, she was cracking up.
Yeah.
And it was even more funnier because you guys weren't laughing.
It would be funny. It would be cool if the ladies from Bridesmaids made a Ghostbusters. That would be a good idea.
Okay. Shut up.
I'm not against female-driven comedies. That hangover humor is not my jam. That kind of style of humor.
It makes me. I laugh.
That is the thing with humor, right? Like it's hit or miss. It's that whole hangover style of thing ain't my deal. Like,
yeah. Now, about 50% of the hangover would just get you canceled in a second. It's pretty funny how fast things change. DC says, I really wish we got that fucked up half Anakin, half Vader Force Ghost from the TFA concept art. Not sure if it ever made sense, but it would have made me splooge. Yeah. That's the you know, like when you look at the concept art, a lot of times the concept artists want to see what you want to see. You know, they're essentially fans like us, and a lot of them got into the old art biz because of something like Star Wars, if not Star Wars itself. And so they do the things that want to see. And then I think the problem ends up becoming like somebody like JJ either just wants to stay away from that stuff because he's afraid of it and doesn't want to, you know, I mean, look, let me ask you guys this, without losing my train of thought too much. When The Force Awakens begins and the first line is, "This will begin to make things right," coincidence, or is that a dig on the prequels?
Max, you go first.
No, I guess.
Oh, that's a dig on the prequels. Like we laughed in the theater. Like
how did you laugh?
That's that's a dig on the prequels. Like
I guess I didn't read into that.
Yeah.
My wife got it, and she's the least, like, she hadn't seen the prequels since 2002. You know what I mean? She's the least Star Wars informed.
So basically, you're calling me a big old dummy.
No.
Yeah, you are.
No, Max. I get into enough trouble with people in the chat. I don't need to also pick fights with people on the show. Unless it's James. No. He's super nice. Everyone needs a villain. So
yeah,
I think so. I just think it's just weird. Look, I know, like, we don't want to sit here and just complain about sequels. Well, come on, we don't have any Star Wars to actually complain about. So we gotta complain about something. But it's just when you develop like Lucas likes to develop stories since the prequels, at least, with visual art first, right?
George has pictures of Bryce Dallas Howard developing.
Man, who doesn't?
No,
Spider-Man 3, man, best part. So fantastic Gwen Stacy. So to develop ideas or storylines through artwork is not a bad idea. I'm not saying that at all.
Yeah.
Even for original Star Wars, in a way, with those key illustrations, kind of does that. But it just seems like JJ just then ignores almost all of it. Like, at least on the prequels, when you see the different takes, it's still leading to the same ideas.
Yeah.
Right? It's just George picked one idea over another visually to go at. 9 times out of 10, it's like that's still a Grievous droid idea, right? That's still a Darth Maul or evil Jedi that they're gonna fight, Sith character idea in episode 1. It's still the same ideas, but the Force Awakens books, it's like it's just filled with things that you're like, oh, that's whole fucking stories we're never getting. like Lucas on Luke on a planet with the Sith ghost and shit, with this giant Buddhist temple. No, I ain't getting none of that, just some rocks. It's so weird. It's like the least interesting or the safest. I don't know, man.
It's very conservative. Everything is. He was always afraid of like going too far, I think. But to give him or to like try to like empathize with him a little bit here, is that if there are like when you see the concept art, the director also and the writer or director and the writer has to be able to look at it and go, oh, I see what I can do with this. I can see how I can make this work. And and if it doesn't go that way, then you end up with one of these
red arms.
Red arms.
Hey, Penny.
She says hi, Penny.
Penny should get that big red arm sweater for Halloween.
But see, okay, I love you, babe, but you can't just sit in and start trying to push buttons. Like you will literally turn the show off if you hit that button. Yes, you will.
She's like, let's try it.
Yeah, and Max's internet's finally working today, so let's not jinx anything.
Hey, it has been this week.
It's true. But so anyways though, yeah, like a lot of that concept art is like cool stuff, and it's like it's cool in the moment, but how you get there and where you go from there is I think like the problem that you have with that concept art stuff. You know what I mean? Like when it's rad. It's like it's a really it's like pretty cool when you see like a van with a bunch of wolves and like a dragon on the side. But why are those wolves and that dragon together? How did they get there and how do they stay there? I don't know.
If they had hired Alan Moore, he would have figured it out. Like I just say better writers, man.
Yeah.
You show a writer anything and they'll conjure up a million ideas. It's just, I don't know.
True.
Bad writing. Whatever.
The Rebels fandom will also be serviced by Ahsoka. Everyone's gonna get serviced by Ahsoka. That's so great.
Oh.
So
you're taking it there.
And once again, thanks to everyone who's a channel member. And today got the chat open to everyone on all platforms. But thanks Junkbox for being a channel member. My sincere hope is if this is and the flashback scene in Kenobi are received by the general audience, that we will be one step closer to a live action Clone Wars show, so people like Rob will watch Clone Wars.
I'm not against animation. I'm the animation guy. It's not the animation that bothers me.
Rob, you watched a bad pilot, Rob. I mean, you watched a bad pilot.
No, it's the fun. I'm going to tell you what it really is, and I just can't shake it. And it's just that all that content somehow should have been the basis for the 3 films. The fact that the Clone Wars exist off screen anger me to no end. It's making a Lord of the Rings film and all the battles occur off the films, and it's just the talking that you stick with.
But you're missing out on so much good stuff because you're mad from 2002. Let it go, man.
I know. Anger, man. Anger's a MFer. It gets the best of us. I can't shake it.
You
can't shake it. I can't shake it. Like no, I know.
He made it right. He went and told the story. Star Wars is big. We have to. Star Wars isn't a trilogy. It never was. It never has been. That's a lie. It's a marketing tactic because they know you won't spend more than what it costs for 3 films at a time. Penny. How many Star Wars movies are there?
9.
That's pretty good. I'll take that. She said 9.
9.
Yeah, she just played Lego Star Wars, Jason. You know what I mean? She just played the Lego Star Wars saga, so she doesn't know that by now. That's a problem.
No, but the reality of the situation is that what Clone Wars did best were things that even if it was the basis of it, that stuff wouldn't have been on screen in those movies. There was just like too many good things that you can do in the time and the era with the concept that you simply would not have that just don't apply to Anakin Skywalker.
That's why I'm just moving on. Like I'm moving on to whatever else they give me, And if they give me a show that has the characters in it, great. I think it's cool. But man, I just can't get past it. It's my fault. That's not Star Wars' fault. That's my fault.
Yeah. DC says, I hope when Qui-Gon says he's been watching the whole time, Obi-Wan looks at the camera and goes, "Oh man."
I'll say
then it cuts to a flashback of him furiously laughing off in the cave while alone and depressed.
Yeah. You can't read that.
Yeah.
Do you want me to read it?
No, I people can read it.
Just kidding.
But yeah. Penny, what's going on? What's going on today?
Wiggly.
You're waiting?
Wiggly.
Well, you're wiggly? You are very wiggly. All right. I guess. You got dirt on your nose.
I know.
So you decided you got dirt on your nose? I'm going to come on camera?
No.
Instead of washing that dirty face?
No.
That's how I feel about chocolate. You get chocolate on your face, you're like, oh well.
Yeah, well, I'm eating chocolate. Yeah, I know. The whole Force Ghost thing it can be a bit off-putting. It's sort of like the concept of Santa Claus, when I'm just to be honest with you, Santa's seen you all go to the bathroom. He knows everything you're doing. Or is that the place where Santa doesn't know anything? Is there a Santa rule where Santa can't see you go to the bathroom? Because that would be weird. So that's where you could do all the bad stuff and still get all the Christmas presents you ever wanted.
Yeah.
They're canceling books. Jason, don't let them cancel Santa. No.
It all goes to you.
It all goes to me.
No, me.
Oh, it goes to Penny. All right, that's fair. Yeah. Anyways, the old handrails thing have yet to be invented. I just think the Empire really doesn't care if you die or not. I think they figure if you die, that's on you. Now we don't have to pay a pension. Because they don't pay.
That sounds familiar.
Anyways, handrails, a Star Wars story to be announced at Celebration. Yep, that makes sense. So, all right, Penny. I love you, but I gotta do this show right now.
It's an alien.
I know there's alien on the mic, but they can't see it, so we can't share with them what's going on right now. But don't play with the mic because the cable gets kind of wacky and then I lose sound. I know. Why don't you go play Lego Star Wars? No.
The alien doesn't want to play with me.
What, the alien doesn't want to play with you?
No, because he has tiny fingers.
He has tiny fingers?
Tiny fingers.
Yeah.
Very tiny fingers.
Okay. That's the show today. It's spring break. Woo! Party. Handrails is a Family Guy insider joke Easter egg. Yeah, probably. Yeah, was it in the Return of the Jedi one that they did that joke first? I can't remember now. But yeah, so anyways, what's going on here with the chat? So Mr. Sinclair says, I took that line as the state of the galaxy within the film and the Star Wars fandom in general. Also, like Disney trying to get their own shot in their first film. Yeah, me too. Like I when I was watching the movie the other day, I was like, about that. It kind of just like it ultimately, it really came back in JJ's face, I think, because at the end of the day, in my opinion, he made a Star Wars movie that was like a really good assignment, which The Force Awakens had a function. He did it perfectly. What the corporation ordered, what they wanted, what people thought they needed, he did it. And then, but by episode 9, I think Attack of the Clones is a better movie than The Rise of Skywalker, personally. 100%. And so if he thought he was making things right, ooh, you messed up with that one, dude. In my opinion,
some shit.
Talk some shit. And it's just tough, George Lucas, man. Like George, it's easy when you're just doing a Kevin Smith thing with your friends. But if you try to out George Lucas, he's crazy, man. He just goes around like Jar Jar Binksing into good stuff. for better or worse.
I put myself in a space opera with tentacles, Jason. So
I do. I still don't quite understand the idea though, like, hey, I'm gonna do this one with Lawrence Kasdan. Oh, I get where you're coming from, bud. But on this next one, I'm gonna get the Batman versus Superman guy. What is that?
They need to keep Chris Terrio away from all comic book films. I'll give him some credit.
Mm-hmm.
I like that Zack Snyder one on the HBO in a very, it's like, I like it. It's like an Image comic book as a series or whatever,
Mm-hmm.
But that being said, man, the dude way overthinks genre fiction. like way overthinks genre fiction, and who knows? Like I get the Kazan thing. Like to me, that just seems like you're trying to gain street cred. Or if they had a Solo plan where like Rey's parents was Solo and Kira and they were trying to work all that out, then that makes the most sense. When Kira isn't Rey's mom, then I'm like, well, then what was the point? Like, well, you need him to write Han Solo's dialogue. I think Harrison Ford could pretty much flip anything you hand at him, and nail that down. So I don't really get the point.
It was kind of fun.
I like that name. Sorry, Pimp Stick Junior Jingles.
That's good. That sounds like an ice cream flavor when the ice cream man comes around.
By
the way, show my wife a book of ice cream. She couldn't stop laughing.
Carl nuts.
Took her a while.
Kasdan had Rey's name as Kira, and then Abrams changes it to Rey, and then they got Kira into Solo: A Star Wars Story, but they spelled it all wacky, wackadoodle. And like you got people that are like, her name was like Kira, and it's like, no, it's just Kira. It's just spelled stupid,
Kira.
Kira's her last name. Her first name is A.
So, anyways, DC says, I think Ryan struck the right balance of capturing a more OT tone while still building on and referencing ideas of the prequels. Yeah, I think so too. I honestly think that Ryan's script is really, really solid. And in a weird way, I think what might have been a better idea to have had Ryan write the trilogy and then to have had multiple directors still, even if he was one of them. That would have been more of my dream for that. But Will says, when you have a cool idea but don't know how to get there, call Robert Rodriguez, because you don't give a shit how you get there. It's true. He doesn't. He'll just
shot it.
Yeah,
in the can. He's the Ed Wood dude of modern film. He just
no,
brilliant. Yes. Yeah.
No, I wouldn't. He's not that bad, but he just whatever his idea for Star Wars.
Max is defending her friends. I appreciate it. You're very loyal, Max. I appreciate it.
Ed Wood's stuff is like really bad.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
I mean,
really,
that's what I'm saying. We agree. Okay.
We did have that one shot where you can see the behind the set in that one and the finale.
Yeah,
that is the Star Wars. Bless you. That is the Star Wars equivalent of the tombstone falling over. I will say that. I will give that much. The cardboard tombstones falling over in Ed Wood or Plan 9. But,
I get a cup, or even like when a camera guy gets in a shot a little bit, right? I get it, but you can see that. Whatever.
Did you ever watch?
I take it all back. Best Star Wars ever.
Did you ever watch Dark Shadows?
Mm-hmm.
The show.
The show and the movie.
And I loved watching how like you would see like the microphone come into a shot.
Yeah.
And because it was live television.
It was live television, right? Yeah.
Well, the one where I think it's fun is in Better Off Dead, when anytime they're skiing downhill, the cameraman's skis are just, they don't even care. They can't keep that out of frame. They're the whole movie, they're in there. You're just following the cameraman's skis, His shadows in there, the skis. They're like, we don't got a budget for just that. That's the way it is.
So funny.
So the Talking Sith says Rob's not against animation. He just won't support it or consume it. He's a walking, talking contradiction, partly truth, partly science fiction. Ooh.
What are you talking about? Like,
Fighting
I literally
words.
spend my entire nights watching anime. You know,
Nerd.
like, I'm the one
You're
who
a nerd.
like Star Wars Visions. I'm watching Ranking of Kings on Crunchyroll. I'm 72 episodes deep into Dragon Quest the anime. I mean, what are you talking about? All I watch is animation. Somebody's like, you watch Succession? I'm like, no, I'm watching Dragon Quest: The Adventure of Dai. Watch some real TV. So
Yeah.
that's what I do.
I had a dream. I went to Target last night, and there was Ranma 1/2 stuff all over the store, and I was like, "Why is Ranma 1/2 stuff all over the store?" I mean, it was the dumbest dream I ever had, but that happened.
It's interesting.
Jedi Mike says, "Resentment leads to anger, leads to fear, leads to the dark side." You kind of got it, Mike. Will Morgan says, "You guys have any idea how much money they save on handrails?" That's true. Beskar handrails.
I feel like the handrails would be a Hasbro Plus toy at this point. Like, you can just buy a bag of them for like $300.
So they say he's also the Argo guy. Yeah, but I think that's the thing right there. Is number one, not a big Argo fan. Don't really like. I don't really care one way or the other about Argo, to be honest with you. But it's such a difference in genre that maybe Terrio, I think that's where Terrio has the problem, is where the suspension of disbelief is allowed to be toyed with is handled so drastically different, perhaps. Maybe, I don't know.
It's why I'm most excited about Filoni bringing in some of these animator cats, and I really think taking a crack at some of those. They got all those Pixar people who've written things and developed. Like, bring them on board, you know? Like animation is more suited for Star Wars in a lot of ways, just because of the way they do a lot of visual representation of themes. You know, Star Wars does a lot of animation stuff in live action. Tell me I don't like animation.
But I will go easy on Terrio and say that it was ultimately JJ's choices, and he was ultimately, you know, sort of, he was under JJ and had to do what he wanted. And the movie that was written and the movie that was filmed, or I should say edited, were not the same thing. So for what it's worth, I think it actually, like, it's probably somewhere secretly inside, deep down in Dario's heart, probably infuriating, because the original version of that movie that was written, what they shot and the ideas for it were a lot better. To some extent, but at the same time, with the Rise of Skywalker, like, when it came to like backstory stuff and how we got there, it was changing all the time. Mm-hmm. If they ever released cutscenes, there's a lot of alternate stuff that could be out there, because they were just spitballing out sometimes at some points, like just trying to figure out how things could go and stuff. So it's all filler, no thriller. Jedi Mike says the Book of Boba Fett is better when you have the King Conan comics reference. Great interview on Star Wars Santa's channel. Yeah, I mean it's kind of that way, Mike, but it actually just makes us angrier, because we see it as a structural issue, in the sense that King Conan is, like we've said, a barbarian as a young man who's now grown into a king. And there's a difference there in the man, and it allows you to show brutal stuff and have a lot of brutality, and you're able to let it go and go with the hero while he's being a piece of crap. Because what do you have? You have now he's actualized. He's become more or less a better person. Boba Fett flashes back to 6 weeks ago.
Or when he's a kid looking out a window. Like, I don't know what I'm supposed to do with that.
When he's yeah, and it's like,
Daddy went to work. I don't know.
And then that hurt never comes back into play. It never says he wants to have a family. He just wants to rule with respect because he missed his dad, I guess. I don't fucking understand.
He wants ice cream. That's what he really wants. Ice cream. Yeah, ice cream.
All right,
we have bills to pay, sir.
Yeah.
The electricity's been shut off.
So Mads Mikkelsen was talking to the Hollywood Reporter about some Harry Potter jazz, and he says, Raiders of the Lost Ark was one of my favorite films. Now I hate it. and it just oozed that golden. Oh no, it's weird. It says was one of my favorite films, and it just oozed that golden period of serials from the 1940s, and that's the fifth film as well. He says they're going heavily back to the first and second film and getting the original feel, the original Indy, something dense and epic. And then it goes on to say,
"They're all going to talk like this, see? And he's going to pick up the transatlantic accent and really speak like those times."
Yeah.
They did.
And he's doing it in the 60s.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. But he does it in the 60s. He's the only fucker doing it. And they're like, why? Why, Indy?
I'm talking about different times, see? Yeah.
I have tenure. Hey, can't make me not do it. Take notes.
Right.
Dick.
You ever met Kate Blanchett? She was the bee's knees. James Mangold, Ford versus Ferrari, has taken over directing duties from Steven Spielberg, who remains on board as an executive producer. And just remember, guys, if you like this movie or you don't, Steven Spielberg decided to fucking make West Side Story instead of this, okay? So fuck Steven Spielberg if it's good or if it's bad. You fucking weirdo. Anyways, it felt like a Spielberg film, though it's obviously James making it with the same vision. Mickelson says Harrison Ford, who's pushing 80, returns as the iconic adventurer. Asked how Ford was holding up following reports that he injured his shoulder on set, Mickelson says he was impressed with his co-star's physicality. It was the first time I met him, and he's an insanely powerful person, he says. He's not just an actor, not physically. I remember the first day he was shooting. It was a night shoot. Then we stopped at 5 a.m. and then he got on his mountain bike and went biking for 50 kilometers, 31 miles. Harrison is a monster of a man, a very nice monster.
Yeah, he's so tough, he's afraid of magic. Like, I don't know.
What? He's afraid of magic?
He's afraid of magic tricks. You know, get out of my house.
Oh,
Like-
you gotta tell people what you're talking about because nobody. I
out
know
my
what you're talking
house.
about, but nobody else. Can.
No, but the accent's
David
really good.
Blaine.
David Blaine, right?
Yeah, David Blaine did a magic trick in Harrison Ford's like kitchen with Calista Flockhart. The whole family's there, and he does this thing where he folds up a dollar bill or something and has Harrison Ford pick up a piece of fruit and then cut it open, and inside the fruit is like the dollar bill. Harrison Ford's like, "You get out of my house. Get out." I mean, just, he almost, I mean, really, he was really freaked out by it. So I get he's tough, but against magic, no, he's scared shitless.
So I read this article, then started getting ready for my day, jumped in the shower, and then got those shower thoughts going. And I'm like, if they're aiming for the first two, we're gonna get Last Crusade. If Disney tries to make Raiders, you get Last Crusade. But I have to say, I think that this quote is going to get a ton of traction. I think it's going to go really far. I think it's going to set these expectations. But I gotta say, I don't really see how Raiders and Temple of Doom are the same
To
thing.
be fair,
but they're so different.
He might think The Last Crusade is the second film. Like, just gonna be honest with you.
Yeah.
Sometimes people forget Temple of Doom, even people of his age, and they forget that movie exists. They really do.
But let's just let's still like take that.
Maybe there's a musical number with the Spartans. That's what he means. Hey,
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. No, but I mean, there's just not really like I don't see how I just don't understand tonally how there's a real connection between Temple of Doom and Raiders, because there's not. And
no, they're totally different films.
They're completely different films, and the only thing I can think of is that. And then if it is time travel, is there anything further from Raiders of the Lost Ark and Temple of Doom than time travel? I'm all for it. For the record, I say do it.
Well,
who gives a fuck? Like, let's see what happens. But
Temple of Doom is more Some Like It Hot than Treasures of the Sierra Madre. You know what I mean? Like, it's more of a it's got a lot of slapsticky kind of comedy, juxtaposed next to guys having their fucking hearts ripped out. So
Indy is more Sierra Madre as a man, as a character. He's more like, he'll slap a kid kind of. You know what I mean?
Yeah, he does. He slaps a kid.
Yeah.
Maybe he slaps kids in this film, and that's the tie-in.
Yeah.
Or maybe there's another Mike. He's just slapping kids. So they put that big sound, that Ben Burt sound effect in there.
I mean, what if in this movie, what if Marion's died? What if Marion's died of cancer and Mutt's gone away to live his own life, and he's in a dark place? I mean, what if it goes there? I'm just saying it could. It's possible. I mean, and it could be that kind of movie, but what I'm trying to say
never
is
woke up. Well, remember they woke him up from that. They would never do this. I can't imagine they would do this. But he just woke up from that blood thing. What if he still has nightmares about this? You know what I mean? What if he's still, he's, because I mean, look, they literally, there's a whole sequence where he sits in a room filled with candles and they feed him like dark blood and then brainwash him. It's weird, right? Like, I love that movie, but maybe he never got over it, Like,
my name is Jonas. Good evening, Meg.
Hey, Meg.
But I will be Jonah today. But yeah, I think that comment, it's interesting to me for sure. Like I was just like, what does he mean? What does this mean? Trying to take it apart. But I think ultimately, like the fact that we've seen Indy with dots all over his face. So we know that they're definitely doing the de-aging stuff for the opening 20 minutes. So I think ultimately that's what he really truly is teasing in his own Mads Mikkelsen way, is that we're going to see.
You don't think he just means they got Dan Aykroyd back?
No, I don't think so.
Damn,
that would be rad though. Wouldn't it be cool if Dan Aykroyd was back in that sequence, like playing that character? Yeah, it would be fun. But yeah, so I got a feeling that it doesn't really tell us much because the Hollywood Reporter article gives you the vibe that the film's tone is like the first two. Of course, they're always going to. I mean, it's a no-brainer. What are you going to try to make your movie like? If you're trying to do a tribute film, if you're trying to recreate something and give more of something that already exists, are you going to go back to the most praised one? But at the same time, I'd say Temple of Doom. I love Temple of Doom and I love Crystal Skull, but I really don't think that they are the best indie you can do.
People overall, were embarrassed to like Indiana Jones after Temple of Doom. Like, and I don't mean my age, like our age. I mean the adults. Like, I remember even in high school when I first got this like a real girlfriend, her family, they were bringing up, like, we're watching Last Crusade, and they were just like, oh, this has saved them, the thing. The Temple of Doom was so shameful to them, like as geek fans, I don't
really remember the Temple of Doom.
Yeah,
has a great opening number, Max. I'm telling you.
Yeah, I remember that. Oh yeah. That's where he does a heart thing, right?
Yeah.
Okay, I do remember.
Yes.
To watch it.
And Kate Capshaw is playing Bryce Dallas Howard in Jurassic World, kind of in a weird way.
Love it.
Yeah.
We watched that again. She hates the movie. I love it. It's got a minecart sequence. So good.
Yeah, there's like I think there's a lot to love in all four of the ones that we have. Like I like them all.
Club Obi-Wan.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. I do think that Temple of Doom would have benefited from being edited down quite a bit. It does hang out on a lot of things because of Harrison Ford's back injury. Like if you watch Temple of Doom, look at how many times when Indy is doing anything, you don't see his face because Harrison Ford had to undergo experimental back surgery during it, and it worked. It actually worked for him, so it was good. Mm-hmm. But his double was doing a lot of that movie, and because he was so messed up.
I was the original Mando. John Wayne's stepson was there doing all my work.
Right?
Get out my cave. That's what I yelled. I think that the trick with that film is a lot of people come back and goes, it's racist towards Indians and they're making fun of the food. I have to explain to people, I'm like, you didn't pay attention to the latter half of the film. They're all under the influence of the voodoo blood. they're not eating typical Indian food. They're eating weird fucking foods because they're all voodoo people. They're all under the influence of Kali Ma or whatever. Like that's not real. It's not. Otherwise, it would have been eating normal fucking food. That's why that's why it's supposed to be something's off here. Why are they all eating snakes and live food and eyeballs and shit? Because they're all under the influence.
Yeah,
is the idea. The only person that isn't is that British guy, and he's like weirded out by it. Like I don't know, but
yeah, he doesn't care. Yeah. He thinks he's all about
savages.
Yeah, just one of those. Yeah.
Colonial.
Yeah, I actually I really when it comes down to it, I don't know, man, Dave. Like you're entitled to your opinion there, but I just don't see like Indiana Jones in the fridge, for instance. I actually don't care. That doesn't bother me one bit. Neither does jumping out of a raft and using a raft.
I remember that.
Yeah,
I'm afraid of heights,
that made me want to jump out a raft every time. I was like, "Can we get a raft and jump off things?" Yeah, my mom was like, "Don't you fucking do it!" Like, like, it'll work. I saw it in a movie.
Yeah, it's just but the truth is like when you for me, part 4 or Crystal Skull, where the movie loses me isn't even monkey brain or not monkey brains, the monkey swinging. It's the waterfall moment. It really breaks the movie, and Marion's shit-eating grin. Marion's not acting; she's just happy to be back on a set. And
what they did to Marion is it's unforgivable. I'm sorry what they did to her character. Yeah, that steering wheel fucking, as if she were the goofy tour guide on the Indiana Jones ride.
They're all just having fun. They're all just having fun, and it really comes through. It's infection.
I can't forgive the way they treated Marion's character. Willie is her own character. She's not a Marion clone in that film. She is 100% her own character. Who's in a way similar to the scientist character in Star Trek 4. Not in the least is Kirk or Indy going to end up with this woman. Like she's got her own fucking shit going on. But yeah, I mean, like how anyone just goes, "Oh no, it's cool, man. Marion could be that way." I don't know, no fucking way, dude. She would have been like the Annie Leibovitz like photographer, or the the photographing the Corto Maltese kind of shit, running around the world. She would have been in World War II, actively doing shit. I mean, after the fact, the Pearl Harbor, you know what I mean? Like she would have. She's just she's a protagonist type, a personality character. And that movie, fucking, it's sad to see that. Honestly, like.
I think Temple of Doom gets a big pass because it was made in 1984 or 84, right? And it just has a lot of that look and feel to it. That's just kind of like I think we get nostalgic for personally, because I mean just like I think whenever I like look at it almost academically, I see them as both as failing in the same spots, in the same places, in the same ways, like pretty hard though. And except Indy is more of a dad to Short Round than he is to Mutt. And anyway, like the relationship between them works way better than it did in that other film. Yeah, but he's a kid, and then he doesn't know he's his son until like the middle of the movie. So
I hear you, but it's workable. Well, I'm not saying make more of it. Like,
yeah, no. If you but if you guys watch Crystal Skull again, if you end up doing an indie rewatch of all of them before the next one, as you're going through it, the movie is fucking fantastic until Marion shows up. You get an hour of a really great indie movie. And I don't think Mutt was terrible. I think Mutt was in that first hour is great. I also love the stuff like he's some kind of teacher or something, and he's all part-time. It's fucking badass.
Yeah, I like the opening with Kate Blanchett and all that stuff, and even the ice cream bar fight or whatever, the ice cream shop.
That was hilarious. That was like that was great. Yeah, that was like that had like a classic Spielberg kind of sort of
felt more Back to the Future than a lot of Back to the Futures 2 and 3.
Yeah. So like I said, like I'm on board up until up until around, like I said, when Marion comes in, she just isn't up to snuff as an actor, and they didn't give her anything to do, and they didn't direct her in any way. She's just there. And
who was the director of that one?
Spielberg. But it was there was sort of well, Marion's back. We could put our feet up now. You know what I mean? It's all
Right.
this part does itself. This part writes itself, and it's just like no, it doesn't. Eric, I like I love Temple of Doom, and I love Crystal Skull. For the record, I think that Raiders of the Lost Ark is a perfect film. And but I also think Last Crusade is just my favorite Indiana Jones movie. Indiana Jones with James Bond as his uptight dad is just fucking fantastic. So
by the way, Writers Blockbusters covered in Raiders of the Lost Ark pretty well. A lot of people have covered this, and the repeating line I hear about Raiders is that it's one of those movies where if Indy hadn't been there, the exact same thing would have played out. Nothing would be different. And I'm like, that's such bullshit. Let me tell you the one thing that would be different. Marion would be dead. Because if Indy hadn't gotten involved, she would have died either in that bar in Nepal or whatever, in her bar. She would have been murdered by Nazis because she never would have given up that fucking thing to the Nazis. And even if she did survive that, by the time she gets to the island, because they would have taken her with them, she would have looked at the ghost at the end, and she would have died there.
Sure.
So it is not true that if Indy hadn't been there, nothing would have played out. I mean, differently. Like, she 100% would be dead.
Yeah.
So that's what bums me more about the treatment of her character in that film in Crystal Skull. So.
Hey Meg, have you ever watched Raiders of the Lost Ark? Because if you haven't and you like Star Wars, I highly recommend that when you are looking for something of that ilk, but you are Star Wars doubt, so to speak, and you're with your girl, and you want to watch something that she doesn't want to watch Star Wars, and you want that kind of thing, definitely watch Raiders of the Lost Ark. It is a perfect film.
If you want to get ideas for an Afra story, you know what I mean? Like, it's really great to watch too.
Yeah, I would. One of these days, I would love to see Meg explore those things in one of the video essay kind of videos or something like that.
I think because I hadn't watched Indiana Jones in I've probably seen it like a couple times, like each, maybe even once. But then I did buy all of them on iTunes.
Okay.
So I had them. I did rewatch them.
Yeah.
But
you gotta play Fate of Atlantis, Max. That's the real nerdy shit. You wanna get in good with the indie fans. Huh.
Don't do it, Max. It's what? It's a good
great.
time. It's all right.
It's fantastic. It's fantastic.
Last Crusade and Raiders set one hell of a bar. Yeah, Dave. That's as a kid, like I was, like to me, Raiders are like as like I don't know, I was like 8 or 9 when Last Crusade was coming out. I followed it in Lucasfilm Fan Club magazine. Mm-hmm. I had a subscription. I was there like on the first day. I was so excited for it, and then it was a good Indiana Jones movie. So like for me, it all hit like perfectly. And Raiders and Temple of Doom were just movies that like I put on all the time. Like I own them and I watch them. But as a kid, you don't really sit down and watch a whole movie necessarily. And like they were so episodic in nature, they kind of were just like a bunch of indie to me. Mm-hmm. But that was the one that actually like really got me. When I watch it today, I am a little bit more critical of the script and of what's her name, Elsa. Like there was stuff like when I was a kid, I was like, yeah, Indy's a little pimp. When he was like, when he's like putting but when I watched it last time, that whole "do you permit me" thing, I was just like, oh my god, this is fucking cringy. This is so cringy. Yeah. And as a kid, I thought it was cool as shit. I thought he was like, yeah, look at him getting the girl.
It's a product of the late 80s. That
it's
romance. Romance always is a product of the time in which it's portrayed, right? Like it's very hard to see a romantic film from the 80s, the 60s, or the 40s and go, that plays well today.
Oh,
like,
yeah. Totally
right?
Different.
Yeah, like romance never. I just can't. It's always of its time.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
A short round in the Indy 5. Don't believe so. He's in that new movie coming out though, right? What's it called?
Fantastic film, Jason.
Yeah, I want to see it. I haven't got
everywhere, everything, blah 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 blah. Fantastic.
Yeah, I want to see it. I plan to see it. So DC says they mix between Kingdom Crystal Skull and that we got, and Frank Darabont's unproduced Indy 4 drops would have been the ideal version of the film. I think probably the Frank Darabont script. Like when I look at it, I'm curious. I was kind of curious about it now with the tech that we have. But at the time when he wrote that, he did not take into account that Indiana Jones and Marion were like way fucking older. And when I think of like that airplane sequence with both of them as like elderly people, I see it and the CGI at the time just not working. And I know you're not saying it, you're talking about like a mixture of the two. And I think that's probably would have been a better way. Unfortunately, that's what had Darabont and Lucas had a falling out. I don't know if they ever became friends again after that.
Also, I just don't think Spielberg is that kind of director anymore. Like he's just a different director now than, I mean, even as much as I actually like Ready Player One. I hate the book. I actually like the movie.
Yeah.
It's still not the same. You know, he's an older dude, different interests and stuff. And I just don't know if Indiana Jones adventure pulp genre I don't think. Do you think Spielberg would make a James Bond movie these days? Like, I just don't see that, you know?
No.
Like, so, yeah.
Yeah, no, I mean, the thing with Spielberg is that he's just, you know, he was a very, very fucking, I mean this in the most respectful, good way. He was a fantastic man-child in the 80s, in the late 70s and early 80s. And then, but then he got more serious and he did grow up a lot. Life happened to him and he stopped having fun in the same way. It's like I think pretty much for me, once you kind of like hit like around like Hook, you're like Hook was the end of the innocent Spielberg. And then after that, whenever he tries to do Innocence, it feels a little bit forced and there's something he changed and it's not bad. He made the movies he made. He just, you know, but I will say, I haven't seen West Side Story, so maybe it's fucking fantastic. And I'm not a person who thinks that you shouldn't remake musicals that are meant to be shown over and over again. It's like they're meant for the stage. They're fine. Remake them all day long. But I am a little bit like, really, dude? Like, you didn't do Indy for West Side Story? What the fuck, man? You could have made a West Side Story at any time. But Indy's a little bit more.
Never forget, Jason. You know, Hook was the movie where I finally got to lay one on Carrie.
Right? But you did it, Lucas. You did it.
I did it.
I do think though that like I am glad that Spielberg didn't direct this one if his heart wasn't in it. I think ultimately that is the big blessing of this film is his heart wasn't in it. He didn't do it, and I think that's important. I also think a part of him, if he cares, I don't know if Spielberg cares about his legacy because he's kind of such a namestay. He might not give a fuck. But if he did make another bad indie film, he would have made more bad indie films than good indie films, which it's not really.
I also think just doing a little bit of little fan fiction here in my head, given how JJ was after Mission Impossible 3, he might have been the better pick for a Crystal Skull at that time. Not the JJ now, but I'm saying, when he was a little bit more tooth. Like Mission Impossible 3 has tooth, you know what I mean? It's got legitimate decisions, great villains, solved a lot of, even though I like 2, it's not a good movie. But 3 changed everything. And that he would have been perfect, I think, coming off that,
I think George Lucas loved Indy more than he loved Star Wars in actuality. I mean, I think it's exemplified by Young Indy and like what he wanted to do with that and stuff. I think he liked the character and the concept more. But ultimately, I think it was sort of unwise of him to not have done more with Indiana Jones in that way. Like have had more directors and let that really be an action film cash cow for the company to fund whatever else he wanted to do. But I think that's why he didn't do it. But indie game, Jedi Mike says indie game on a television, game swinging on vines, 8-bit. I really liked that. I think the best indie game was the Temple of Doom game. It had the cool John Williams theme from it just on loop. And
the arcade one? Because I
I
had one on my DOS computer that wasn't so fucking good, bro. Like
I had it for Nintendo. It wasn't good, but the Last Crusade game wasn't any good. The Young Indie game wasn't any good.
Fate of Atlantis was way better.
I'm talking about really. I thought we're talking like 8 to 16-bit times here. And
the arcade game was fun.
The arcade game was good. Willow was good too, surprisingly. But
but I thought Indy made a better pinball game than a arcade game. Just like
dude, I wanted to talk about this. I forgot the Williams Indiana Jones table is the best pinball table of all time. They put it out. You could buy it now they made a copy of it that you could play on your Xbox or whatever now. And Pinball FX 3, I think it's called. I want to say Pinball FX or whatever. It's out. You can play it now. And it's so fucking good. But I want to buy it, but I'm hoping that it comes on an Oculus Quest. Because I don't really want to go and throw down on it only to have it come out on Oculus Quest tomorrow. But if they
it's not on the Quest right now, it's just on the Steam side, right?
I think it's on Xbox and it's on the console side. It's a downloadable pack or whatever that you could buy for whoever has the Pinball Effects line. But it's not available as a in VR yet. And I haven't got to try it yet, so I don't know. But because Universal made a Jaws, Back to the Future, and ET pack, and it didn't have any of the music or original sound, and I hated it. I actually asked for my money back, and they gave it to me. Yeah,
me too.
Yeah,
I got a refund. I cannot imagine just trying to play Back to the Future with no Back to the Future music. So look, it's like that Married with Children fucking music they threw on there because they didn't want to pay for the song. I can't do it. That's why I have ripped. I've ripped the actual.
It's back. It's back.
The Peacock site.
It's back now. Yeah,
it's back now on the DVD, but not on the DVD releases and the Blu-rays.
I don't. Yeah,
streaming.
When I was streaming it, when I streamed like the first season, the music was back, and I was like, "That's better." When
I bought it on DVD, right?
Yeah.
When it first came out, I was like, "What is this?" I got so mad. But Best Buy was like, "We don't return," and I was like, "You." So I'm like, I already paid for it. I'm stealing the shit.
Yeah.
But I'm glad to see it's back. You got to have the music, man. Come on.
Jeez, I'll be right back.
Okay.
I'll be right back.
Yeah. And also they like whoever owns that music, what do you think the value of that fucking song is? The value of that song is because it was in Married with Children. It's nobody gives a shit about your song outside of Married with Children. So you should get some perspective there.
Yeah. Michael Bublé doesn't even give a shit,
Meg says, I'm excited for Rupert as the Grand Inquisitor. He's well-rounded.
Star Wars Larry.
Yeah, Star Wars Larry was an Arlnauts Obi-Wan Kenobi spoof that came out this week. And he just keeps going on about the Grand Inquisitor. And it's so fucking funny, though.
His head was so ridiculously large.
and they in the Arlnauts thing, like the Jedi with the lightsabers are like ravers that are like, just doing rave moves. And and there's this part where he's all, and he had a spinning lightsaber that did his dancing for him or something like that. It's pretty good. I find it very funny.
I like it when he says, and I did things I'm not proud of, and it shows him giving the babies to Uncle Owen and Emperor as if he sold them for money,
Yeah.
It's just that idea of juxtaposing an image with some dialogue that changes the context of everything in a horrible ways. I'm fascinated with that. It's a simple trick, but I never get old.
Yeah. Dave says, I'm older, so I saw all of them in the theater. My dad took me to see Indy instead of Robin Williams' Popeye. I was in second grade. That's funny. Yeah, I remember Popeye, and as a kid, I was put it on, but I was always very confused by it because I watched the Popeye cartoon, but I was just like, why is this? What is this? It was really strange to me.
It's still strange. It's one of those movies. I'm not a big musical guy.
Mm-hmm.
I will watch Popeye if it's on, just because I'm still fascinated. But it's so fucking weird. It exists. It doesn't exist in the 30s. It's this weird. It's almost a steampunk movie without the steampunk. Just the design of the whole area they're in. This like floating city thing with, like it's so fucking weird. Like, and the fact that they built everything is crazy. Like, right? It's expensive.
So I had to call Penny. Come here, Penny. Look, Penny. This is important. Come on, finally. Look who's in the chat. A minion. And what did it say? Banana. Me and Penny, we like the all the hits of David Bowie. So me and Penny, when we're out on our travels and on our adventures, we're off with that listening to David Bowie pretty often. A lot of ELO and David Bowie, and but I like that, in the beginning of Starman, when he's like na na na. Penny thinks he says banana, in the opening of Starman. Check it out if you don't know the song. It's pretty good. But yeah, Jedi Mike says Kenobi excitement is the middle name of this channel. Yeah, I know. I'm super excited.
We're all excited
for Kenobi.
I'm excited.
I think it's gonna hit. I do. I think it's going to really make people generally happy. And I gotta say, I think I like the prequels of Revenge of the Sith. It's my favorite Star Wars movie, and I think it's gonna make it better. I think it's gonna make it even better. And yeah. One thing I wanted to hit on that I forgot to do at the top of the show was we did a story this week about Reva and her character arc. And Rob, I don't remember if you were joking on the show or off the show that people were going to get confused about it and start saying that it's all about Reva. And I saw that. Discourse pop up. And it's just like, I just did an article all about Reva, and it's like people completely disregarded all of fucking 42 other articles I put out in the last 2 months about it. And
do you want to see the weird games I play in my head with this stuff?
Yeah,
I feel like one of the most in a comic book movie I've ever seen that reflects the way I think is just that one scene in Infinity War where Doctor Strange is looking at multiple possibilities, right? He's going, that's what I do anytime there's news out. So like the possibility in my head is, okay, if there wasn't a Reva, then they would say this character didn't get a character art and should have a bigger fucking thing. And then when she's got a bigger thing, is she's taking up the show, man. Like, you just can't win.
Well, yeah, no, that's what I was saying. Is like, do you want another Fennec Shand?
Right.
You want a villain Fennec Shand, and then like that's it. It's like, also, I mean, like I said, she was always there since the beginning, but it's a 6-part show. And what I gave people was about 95% of the arc that I know of. And so that needs to understand, people need to understand that's spread apart.
Plus, if you described to someone that never seen Return of the Jedi, that they'd only seen the first 2 films, and you're like, hey man, at the end, Luke doesn't beat Vader, he just gets electrocuted by the Emperor, and then Vader picks up the Emperor and throws him down a hole. You'd be like, but Luke doesn't beat the Emperor? No, Vader did, because also this is about Vader now, right? Like, Vader, like bad guys got to get a whole, they're what's that thing where they, where they turn Venom into a hero, kind of shit. Then you have to explain to them about arcs and, whatever, man. You just can't win with some folks. But I was just waiting for that. Didn't take too long, though, did it?
It did not. And I'm not picking on anybody who thought that, because, it's like maybe you didn't read every article or maybe whatever. But I do think it's important that people understand that in case it's not clear. And then another thing is I talk about how I called the Jedi a corrupt Jedi religion, and that is from the Jedi Order, and that is from Reva's perspective, but also the perspective of the films. The Jedi are corrupt, and they were corrupted once they entered the Clone Wars. So that was confusing. I meant to kind of fix that up a little bit just to make it clearer to people. I did see that popping up here and there, but I also thought if you watch the prequels, it shouldn't be confusing to anyone that the Jedi Order has been corrupted by Palpatine.
But let's also think about, again, like if you're in the world of Star Wars, right? You're like an average person in the Imperial military or even the Rebel Alliance. All you know going into it is there was this thing called the Jedi Order, and then one of them went bad and killed everyone, and now we're all in fucking hell for it, you know? Like you really, I swear, the one thing Rogue One could have done a little better, in my opinion. I love that movie. It's my third favorite Star Wars film of all time, so people know. But like, I love showing people who believe in the Force who aren't, you know, like Jedi and shit, right? But the people around them shall be like, your religion put us, like the Uncle Owen thing, your whole fucking religion fuck the whole galaxy up. You know? Like, fuck your shit. You know, you crazy psychos. You're not welcome here. Get out. You know, like I totally would get a universe that bought into it because that's a human response to that situation.
Talking Sith, is this your idea? Because it is very, very fucking astute. So Talking Sith says Rob has a point with the romance era thing, hence the Force FaceTiming thing between Rey and Kylo. So that's a really, really I think that's really, if that's your idea, dude, good work. Because that is super that is very smart.
You know, Jason, my favorite matches were always tag teams. Okay. Just so you know, like, I'm not a singles guy. I'm a tag team guy.
Whoa,
I like the teams.
Keep that between you and the wife, buddy.
I will then.
Oh shit! No, we're the bushwhackers. I'm your bushwhacker, bud.
Yeah.
I'm your bushwhacker.
Could you imagine the bushwhackers with just a bushwhacker? That wouldn't have worked. You have to have the S.
No, they need the bushwhackers.
Yeah, if it's one guy, it's not good.
Yeah. Anyways, so did you say that you didn't like the Ready Player One book, but you liked the movie, or did you say it the other way?
I like the movie, not the book. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. The book is insulting to people who actually know something about video games. It's incredibly stupid. But what I do like in the film is being able to. The film is the closest thing to a Roger Rabbit scenario we have with the amount of stuff that's in there, right? Like it's got it's got a fucking spawns in there. It's fucking awesome. But watching a bunch of what we're gonna call them, like super zillennials, have to experience The Shining firsthand in VR 3D, and watching the horrors on their face when they don't understand the rivers of blood coming at them is fantastic. I can.
Oh wait, is The Shining out? Is The Shining out in 3D?
Just that they recreate that sequence in Ready Player One. Okay, it's in 3D.
Okay,
it's in 3D.
Okay, I was like, I know because my for some reason, I thought it would be a good idea to let my kids watch The Shining. I kind of figured they'd just fall asleep, to be honest with you. They didn't. They loved it. They watched the whole thing. It scared the shit out of them. And my kid still doesn't want to go to the bathroom in the bathroom. He's afraid the shower lady's going to be in there. It's been like a year. Yeah.
I thought the shower lady, not at the time, I saw it way earlier, but later on in high school years when I saw Kingpin, I was like, yeah, this landlord lady is very much like that shower lady from The Shining.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a similarity here. Yeah.
Dave says Pitfall was the best indie game. As a kid, I loved Pitfall. You know, a couple of days ago, I was talking about having to go to my dad's bitchy girlfriend's house while they went and did their stuff, and I was just out there with the fucking Atari when I had a Nintendo at home. And Pitfall got me through the day. I will say there was a couple of days where I was all about the Pitfall. And
Peter Griffin post that. Yeah, Pitfall. Pitfall. It's pretty fun, dude. I mean, on that original Atari system, there just wasn't a lot of actual good games, and Pitfall was one of the few that actually provided some substance, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dave says there is a rumor Jaws pinball coming from Stern. Like as like a digital one or like a real like new table. But if they actually have the music and the sound, I'm all about it, you know.
I only want pinball in VR, Jason. Like I need the depth. Once you get that Star Wars tables are so fucking good. Once you get that fix for VR pinball, it's hard to go back. You know.
I will say, Eric, Popeye is not as good as a movie called Willow. It's a movie where the magic is inside; it's within.
I like Popeye.
But the
power of Willow.
I remember going on a date, and we went and saw Little Nicky, and I don't remember really liking the movie very much, but I do remember when he goes, "Popeye's chicken's fucking awesome." That was the part that I laughed at. That was the part that I still remember thinking was funny. All these years later, that joke landed for me. Spectacular Moment says, we were also spoiled to have Vader in all our OT then, a bit Rogue One in 40 years. Devil's Advocate says, will we get another Vader Force choke scene and Obi tells him to let Reva go? I don't think so. But there will be some stuff like that. Someone looks like someone is spam.
Don't read it.
I'm gonna block him. You got blocked. But yeah. Batorian says more lobbyism is the Republic than in Germany. That's tough to manage. Spectacular Moment says the ability to destroy a planet is insignificant next to the power of the Force. I think that's true. Will's kicking trash cans again, but somebody replaced his trash can with a Beskar one so we could break his foot, and then he has no choice but to hang out with us all day. Star Wars Make says, I miss Max's voice. She should tell us the tragedy of Darth Plagueis the Wise.
Have you ever heard the tragedy of Darth Plagueis the Wise?
Nah. I'm Anakin.
He tried to get my Captain Crunch cereal. Oh no, it was horrible.
What if they actually did, but Anakin just didn't listen because he never fucking listened. So Dave says you might have my dad beat for bad movie choices. Alien in kindergarten and Conan. Alien. What?
I'm gonna tell you, nothing beats my uncle showing me the trilogy of terror when I'm 3 years old, bro. Like, go sit through that fucking sequence, the voodoo doll sequence.
Yeah, I woke up from like I fell asleep, and my dad was sleeping on the couch, like watching it on HBO, and I walked out right as like the little doll gingerbread man thing gets up. It starts going around, and I'm like, "What is that?" My dad's all, "It's just gingerbread man." After that, I was fucking scared of gingerbread men.
No, my uncle was like, "It's the Yaya doll." Like and I'm screaming, you know, like, yeah, it's burned into my head that day. That's not a reconstructed memory like that. Scarred.
What's the name of the movie?
The Trilogy of Terror. It was it's a TV film. It shouldn't be fucking scary, but it's an anthology thing. There's 3 little stories, and the third one involves this woman who brings home a voodoo doll. It's just the most fucked up design doll. And the sound design on this doll, it's nightmare inducing. Remember when I told you worry about the broken glass? Once you get this sound of this doll in your head, you're fucked for life. Like it's so horrible.
It's called Trilogy of Terror. I'm actually
Terror, yeah. And when you see, they even do some real fucking clever filmmakers. Get the camera low to the ground so you're seeing through the eyes of the little fucker. And he's like chasing her around the house and shit. You know, like.
And it's in the 70s too. Those are scary. Oh, that doll.
Yeah. And then, you know, a couple years later, my dad's like, let's watch Nightmare on Elm Street. You know, right when it comes to pay-per-view. You know, like opening fucking night.
Nice.
Yeah. Wouldn't go to waterbed for 3 years.
As a kid, my cousin's cousin. She wasn't my cousin, but it was his cousin, my cousin's cousin, on his mom's side, and we would stay at her house, and they had like a big VHS collection, and in it they had The Empire Strikes Back, and they had Nightmare on Elm Street. And so that I always wanted to go over their house, spend the night, so we could watch those movies. And we watched that and Short Circuit a lot. Those 3. Those were the Empire, Short Circuit,
like Maple Leaf.
Yeah. And then as luck would have it, I ended up going with my mom and these people she worked for, and they would like when she was doing like work for them, she's like a bookkeeper or something. And I would I would just watch movies. They had Return of the Jedi that they taped off of something, like a copy of Return of the Jedi. So it's like I had to like go all these different places for a time to get my Star Wars trilogy fixed because I had A New Hope, and then I had to go here and to go there. I had a whole like scheme to watch the original trilogy.
Meg, it's actually it's a sitting down story, Meg.
Which one?
Oh, Meg's asking. She hasn't heard of the story of Death Plagueis the Wise. She's asking, is it a sitting down story or a lean against the counter kind of story? And it's actually kind of both.
Mm-hmm.
You know, at one point you want to sit down and then you want to get up and then like lean over.
Yeah. I like the part where he gets killed. It is sleep.
It's good.
It turns out he had a heart attack in his sleep.
he
died
had a life insurance policy that I took advantage of.
Actually, Dave. Yeah, I remember the first time I saw Faces of Death. I was 7 years old, and my dad and my uncle, they had a copy, and everybody was over, and they were all watching it, and just nobody made me leave. So I sat there and watched it, and I was just like, I don't know if this is real. But it was a bit much. It wasn't necessarily traumatizing as much as it was crazy, you know. But I remember the scene where the guy parachutes into the alligator's mouth, and as a kid, just being like, "What a way to go!" Star Wars Meg says both. So at one point, Palpy is going to bend me over the counter. Not you,
just
Meg.
like Captain Crunch. Captain Crunch cereal, bend you over the counter, part of your complete breakfast.
That voice, man.
That's so funny.
Hey, Jason, how's it going, man?
Hey, Jason.
Hey, I've been as you can see right here, I got the old pen out for Skinwalkers at the Pentagon, and I've been marking out the all of the fun wooey moments of it and everything. So we'll do something together with old man Rob if he's free, and we'll
woo peed on my rug.
Like, woo, oh woo,
woo, woo. I like when he says woo peed on my rug. It's just a great delivery.
Yeah. But I think we're gonna call it a show today because I got my kids home and they want to go hang out and do stuff, and so I think we've hit our natural end here. Everyone, you're in a space cult. Oh, you know what I didn't do though? I didn't do it. All hell lamb head.
Who made that?
Baymax made it.
Kellogg's made it. Worship Kellogg's, part of your complete breakfast.
It was a pack-in. It was a pack-in. And and Meg, I wanna give you Meg this for showing up today because this is for Meg.
I'm horny. Who cares?
That's for me. I know she enjoys that clip. Anyways, we'll be back tomorrow at 11 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, talking about the old Star Wars, the War of the Stars. And thanks for hanging out with us, Max.
Definitely.
And thanks for hanging out with us, Rob. And we'll see everybody tomorrow.
All right.
Good?
Bye.
It's the end of the show.
Come on, let's go.
Hey! It's the end of the show.
Come on, let's go. Hey!
It's the end of the show.
Come on, let's go. Hey!
You should go.
Come on, let's go.
It's not about spaceships.